In 2026, the world officially enters a peak cycle of pure fire energy, a phenomenon that occurs only once every 60 years. This is the year of the fire horse, an era destined to dissolve outdated systems and accelerate global restructuring. From large-scale natural events to geopolitical shifts, no one will be able to remain a complete outsider. For those watching the markets, Bitcoin will face a year of intense and unprecedented structural volatility. At the end of this video, I will explain the deeper logic behind Bitcoin's most striking moments of volatility in 2026, when pure fire energy is pushed to its absolute limit. The first systems to lose balance are inevitably the natural systems of the planet. Fire will no longer remain merely a symbol of civilization. It will manifest directly as wildfires, conflicts, and the ongoing escalation of geopolitical tension. This extreme heat also intensifies collective emotions, leading to heightened social pressure, more frequent protests, and visible public frustration across many regions. As existing structures are placed under stress, imbalances in energy can surface in more subtle ways, including the re-emergence of latent health challenges and unexplained medical concerns. This occurs because prolonged extreme heat weakens the body's natural regulatory and immune systems. However, the true risk lies not in fire alone, but in the phase that follows its peak when opposing forces are pushed into reaction. In energy terms, this represents a redistribution of pressure within the Earth, placing both marine and land systems into a state of heightened stress. As a result, extreme contradictions appear simultaneously. On one side, fire and record-breaking temperatures. On the other, sudden and unpredictable rainstorms, earthquakes, and oceanic anomalies. When heaven and earth enter an extreme fire energy cycle, the next systems to lose balance are the human mind and the physical body. In 2026, excessive fire energy amplifies the emotional system as a whole. Anxiety, irritability, insomnia, and emotional instability become far more common throughout the year. Physiologically, the cardiovascular system carries significantly greater strain. This is especially relevant for individuals born between June 6th and July 7th, as well as December 5th and January 5th of the following year. For these groups, maintaining stable heart rhythm, blood pressure, and emotional regulation becomes particularly important. This imbalance between heaven and earth does not remain confined to individuals alone. Within the spatial energy structure of 2026, a draining and heavy frequency settles into the northwest sector, an area traditionally associated with leadership, authority, and paternal responsibility. As a result, male leaders on a global scale, as well as fathers who carry primary responsibility within families, are likely to experience a noticeable increase in energetic and physical load. This is especially true for those born in the peak of summer, or those in core positions of power under long-term high-pressure decision-making. When an individual's own fire nature is already strong, combined with the extreme peak of the 2026 fire horse cycle, the life system first bears the impact, often reaching the upper limit of physical strength and energy. Therefore, it is more likely to result in a sudden drop in energy, loss of balance in state, or even the need for a short-term hospital stay. But this impact will not stay only at the physical level. When the body system begins to overload, the cognitive and judgment systems will simultaneously enter an unstable zone. Therefore, even visionary figures who lead the direction of the times may experience a brief but obvious period of mental fog in 2026. Their rhythm of judgment may be disrupted, and their decision-making logic may shift away from their past styles. This is an inevitable reaction at the structural level of energy. When extreme energy hits an extreme structure, it must trigger a corrective event. In 2026, some people will not necessarily fail, but rather, they must be interrupted once. The market in 2026 will present a highly deceptive state of surface prosperity. New concepts, viral assets, meme coins, and AI gimmick projects will be ignited rapidly, showing staggering short-term gains. But under the dominance of extreme fire energy, the market lacks true support and cooling. These rises are essentially speculative bubbles built on empty fire. They come quickly, and they leave even faster. In 2026, the world is in a typical period of transition anxiety, where emotions drive decisions and capital is pushed into high-risk areas. Any rise driven by emotion possesses the characteristics of a bubble. Therefore, 2026 is not a year suitable for blind expansion, as extreme fire energy will amplify false heat and illusions. Take Bitcoin as an example. It represents cold digital energy, while 2026 is the year of the fire horse, when midday fire reaches its peak. In this year, what Bitcoin faces is not ordinary price fluctuation, but a state of forcibly amplified volatility. Water represents existing financial liquidity, as well as stored wealth and long-dormant supply held in cold wallets. Fire represents extreme market consensus, computing power frenzy, and global emotion pushed to its peak. When these two forces collide in 2026, the effect of the clash becomes unavoidable. A clash always produces movement and dispersion. This means that in 2026, Bitcoin's price behavior is defined by high-frequency turbulence, emotion-driven rapid rallies, and equally violent pullbacks, with volatility expanding far beyond normal conditions. The direct consequence of this collision is the forced activation of long-inactive coins held in cold storage, causing liquidity to be redistributed across the system. In terms of timing, this structure tends to follow a familiar pattern. As the market enters summer, especially after June, overheated sentiment drives price sharply higher, forming what can only be described as an emotionally inflated peak zone. Once a critical threshold is reached, only a single trigger is required for price to fall abruptly from the top, releasing pressure in a sudden and concentrated move. Without this kind of direct and violent collision, Bitcoin would remain little more than a tool circulating among a small group of participants. It is precisely this pattern of extreme surges followed by equally extreme declines that loosens supply and, ultimately, enables true wealth redistribution. Remember this one sentence: 2026 is a year for accumulating virtue, not for seizing wealth. The best configuration for this year is not found in chasing returns, but in reducing risk exposure and preserving stability. Charity, generosity, and consciously yielding profit are among the most reliable ways to hedge against excessive energy imbalance. The true wealth window, a broad-based economic recovery with structural support, does not arrive until 2027. Yet even within chaos, rare opportunity still exists. As collective anxiety rises, global demand for spiritual relief and emotional release will reach unprecedented levels. Industries connected to performance, entertainment, large-scale concerts, cultural creation, and psychological counseling are likely to experience notable growth. In periods like this, people no longer focus on accumulating material possessions, but are willing to pay a premium for moments of emotional grounding, meaning, and inner calm. Geographically, the global flow of fortune is undergoing a clear shift. In 2026, the most favorable region aligns with Southeast Asia. At its core, Singapore stands out as a key beneficiary of global capital movement, supported by its rare combination of structural stability, neutrality, and energy containment. At the same time, those living in the Southern Hemisphere should remain particularly attentive. In extreme fire energy years, conditions there tend to manifest more directly through intensified environmental stress, such as large-scale wildfires or sudden fire-related emergencies. In a year defined by transformation, only those who can recognize the direction of energy flow will be able to locate a true refuge amid systemic change. Before closing, let me share a counterintuitive survival signal. If your home experiences unexplained water seepage or leaks in 2026, remain calm. In an exceptionally dry, fire-dominant year, this often represents a natural balancing response, a subtle release of excess heat. From an energy perspective, it reflects heaven and earth cooling the system, absorbing pressure, and quietly deflecting risk. Following this flow, rather than resisting it, is often the most effective way to resolve tension.